With Stefan Bajčetić going to RB Salzburg, I wanted to take a quick look at some of what Liverpool's transfer strategy is, what you guys really think it is. There seems to be a wildly swinging opinion this summer as to what Liverpool exactly are trying to achieve and why, ultimately, potential will always be outweighed by immediate value. And when I say immediate value, I mean selling and buying for Liverpool. Welcome back to Laurence McKenna on LFC channel. If you want to join the Patreon, support the work that we do, then let me know in the comments below. And if you want to support your own team, then feel free to be positive or give constructive feedback in the comments. I would love to know from you guys what you think of transfers such as Carvalho, Sepp van den Berg. I mean, it's obviously not Adrian. Couple of the other guys as well, as in the the kind of fringe players, the Reece Williams types, even possibly Nat Phillips types, those kind of guys. Liverpool, Edwards, Richard Hughes, slot. There is some form of obviously they'll work under the Liverpool banner, but I think there is like a kind of FSG type thing if you think of Liverpool. They have a mandate for Edwards. Edwards then has an idea and a mandate for Hughes. And then Slot and Hughes kind of work in tandem to work out what a player's path is. And I think, to an extent, it was great what Klopp left behind. He left behind a really strong squad. He left behind a lot of young players who had the intensity, the fitness, the technical ability. And during his period at Liverpool, not only through Michael Edwards, but also through Jurgen Klopp, we found that not only did Liverpool vastly improve their academy prospects, which was not only down to Klopp, but was also down to the training staff, Liverpool also improved their pathway into the team. And to an extent, that is also a big blocker for the other people. So I get it, Trent is obviously a really great player, but that then puts a bit of a blocker on someone like Bradley getting a full 90 minutes. Curtis Jones, fantastic player, but it puts a blocker on someone like Stefan Bajčetić or possibly, a Bobby Clark getting a full 90 minutes or being a direct pathway into the team. Klopp, maybe there's a slight misnomer here in that, we think of him obviously bringing a lot of youth through, and yes, he brought a lot of youth through, but at the same time, they were prominent in that final and it made a lot of people think, oh, these guys are ready for the big time. Let's just not forget the prominent players that scored, the brilliant performance that these young guys put in, but at the same time, on the contrasting side of that, the fact that the experienced players brought Liverpool through that final and gave a lot of shine to that generation, gave Klopp some great memories, gave Liverpool some great memories, but at the same time, a lot of people kind of went, well, Liverpool, they're good for 3 generations now. And the fact, I think, is, in the transfer market, you see that Liverpool put 10 million for Bobby Clark. That's not like a killer amount of money. That's a decent amount of cash for a central midfielder who's still relatively young, and obviously going to a guy who has already scouted him. But the same goes for someone like a Bajčetić. He's not got a direct stream into the team right now. He's not going to usurp McAllister, Gravenberch, possibly even an Endo from the side, because those experienced players are what Slot's going to need to lay down a foundation for the next 5 years. We're thinking in terms of what we want to see this season. And I get it. I've felt that there have been short timelines in my Liverpool fan life before. When family members get sick, you think, God, I want to experience a great game with them. When Klopp announces the end of a season, you go, well, we need the players to be able to deliver immediately for Jurgen Klopp. When Slot comes in, there's pressure on him. And believe me, there will be people as soon as this Liverpool team draw or lose saying, I told you that they needed X, Y, Z. On top of that, there is also then a timeline for any of these players who basically want to play full first-team football. They want to get the higher wages, they want to get into national teams, they want to get the brand deals. All of this kind of prominence and the belief that these players will have in themselves, Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, all these kind of guys, can only push you so far. The manager then decides, well, you're going to play for me at some point. Harvey Elliott played right wing for Liverpool on the weekend, essentially. He played like a 10-come right wing, but like an inside right. But the point is, that's probably not his preferred position right now within the team. I think he can operate really well from out there, but sure, it'd be great to see him in the 10 like he was there for pre-season. But that's kind of my point. You can only really have one Harvey Elliott in the side. And Chelsea know the same thing. Liverpool weren't a million miles away from the Chelsea type situation that Chelsea have at the moment earlier in the transfer window when it was like, look, we've got a pretty big squad here. There's a lot of youthful talent in there. Chelsea obviously bought a lot more of that in and overpaid possibly for some of it, but they'll see market value for it. Liverpool have looked to promote from within and have done a very good job of picking up players just below 16 or just over 16, bringing them into the club, bringing them up to a certain level, and then either selling them on or keeping them for a little while. And here's the thing, Edwards is a very good market reader. He's the kind of guy who will know where market trends are going. He understands data, not only on a personal level, but on a macro level within football as well. And that's a huge reason as to why Liverpool will not have invested a huge amount of money this summer and why they will have been much more picky in the way that they invested. Of course, part of that is down to Liverpool getting from the very top, you're only allowed to spend this amount of money. This is how we're going to run the club. Of course, you get to tell us what your feedback on that would be, how you spend the money that we generate. But it's, we're only going to spend X amount. PSR, financial fair play, all these kind of things are going to have a big impact on where football goes in the next couple of years. And this isn't to protect or shelter FSG from criticism. I know that every owner is fallible. But what I will always take is, the grass is always greener idea. Like the grass is always greener with another owner who comes in and says, oh, we could do X, Y, Z if we had this, this and this. Well, so far with Ineos, they've marginally improved at Manchester United. They've also cut 250 jobs, possibly because the previous ownership let those jobs get too bloated. The club employed a few too many people. They've also struggled to get in a couple of the big targets that they probably would have really wanted. But at the same time, they brought in Lenny Yoro, Ugarte, Xerxes, I think, was probably their best signing of the summer, humbly, in my own opinion. And they've also managed to bring in a little bit more in terms of De Ligt and Mazraoui type talent, which is immediate payback. Liverpool had already kind of had that summer. Liverpool had already done that in their midfield. Szoboszlai, McAllister, Endo, Gravenberch. That was one summer for Liverpool. And what we're now witnessing, especially with the Brighton types, is Brighton kept their powder dry. They didn't see value in the market. They did the data analysis, and the summer after they got all the money in for Caicedo and all this kind of thing, they went out and they spent almost £200 million. Because balancing the books now and getting market value is going to give you a competitive advantage. So loaning someone like Stefan Bajčetić out at a club where they know he's going to get a certain type of training, so he'll just continue his development and his pathway, but also he'll very much be in the transfer window and he'll be in the consciousness at a club who play a very attractive style of football and are very good at adding value to that type of player, whilst also evaluating whether his long-term fitness is there, whether his legs are going to be able to recover enough at the age of 19 after a super serious injury, which took him a very long time to recover from, and also whether he then fits into the Liverpool style. Liverpool weren't looking for another double pivot player. They were, Zubimendi and Bajčetić, maybe the fact they're playing a very similar position, but they're not a similar type of profile, mainly because Zubimendi's a couple of years ahead in his profile. He's got a very specific set of skills, clearly, because Liverpool haven't gone elsewhere. But at the same time, Stefan Bajčetić is still learning his craft, is still learning his trade. You could have gone the other way. Say Bajčetić comes in and says, like Fabio Carvalho, I want first team football. Liverpool are immediately going to say to him, you're a fantastic player, but you're not going to get that first team football here. You will go to Brentford for 23.4 million euros plus some add-ons. The same for Sepp Vandenberg, 23 point whatever for essentially a player that's barely ever played a first team game he's barely ever played a first team game for Liverpool, certainly is impressed in other countries. But the same goes for someone like Calvin Ramsey. We'll just perpetually be loaning him out. The same goes for Bajčetić. These guys need first team football. And I think it's kind of weird at this point that we aren't acknowledging there is a strategy here. And the strategy will not always just be just buy the best talent. Because that's not a strategy in football anymore. It's not that simplistic. And I know that you probably know this. You're probably watching this and going, why are you patronising me, telling me all this stuff? It's just that sometimes it feels best to lay those things out and ask the questions that maybe some other people are excluding from their videos. I don't think I'm more capable than anyone else of asking these video questions. I think there are plenty of people who are very good at laying this kind of thing out. But at the same time, it's worth acknowledging, lovely to have a Reece Williams in the side, or lovely to have a Fabio Carvalho in the team. But in the long run, Liverpool have to trim back what they have. And acknowledging the business will make the pleasurable side even more pleasurable. because you've got your trimmed down squad, you've got your core, you've got a set of talent, and you've arguably got more money to spend in a transfer market, if not this window. Honestly, the January comments today that I saw, I'm sort of like, sure, we'll spend in another window. Liverpool are going to spend in another window at some point. There will be another window where Liverpool spend at some point. The issue is, I'm in no rush to spend more cash because I don't know what the books look like. I don't know how much money we brought in last summer. I don't know what PSR is saying to us. I don't know how much pressure we're under to buy, sell, all these kind of things. And I don't know how much Slot is putting pressure on the owners and the Edwards types and the Hughes types to bring in X player, Y player. He's a coach. We brought in a coach for a reason. And I think that's just worth remembering. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this summer's transfer policy and whether you think it's laying a groundwork in the same way as Brighton did just one summer ago, or whether we're being drastically naive and Liverpool are just a couple of injuries away from what most people would call disaster. Let me know in the comments below and I'll see you in a little while. Much love. Bye.